The diplomatic gala, celebrating humanity's new alliance with the Valtteri, stretched into the early morning hours. Glass towers in every major city were illuminated with shimmering blue light, the Valtteri's traditional color of friendship, or, so they claimed. Dr. Elena Reyes sipped her champagne slowly, watching Ambassador Zartek charm a group of world leaders with tales of cosmic wonders awaiting Earth. "You've been staring at him for an hour," Colonel Marcus Way whispered, appearing beside her in his formal military dress. "People will think you're in love, or plotting an assassination," Reyes replied without smiling. "Did you get what I asked for?" Way nodded subtly. "Full biological and radiation scans of their delegation. My team disguised the equipment as standard security measures. And? They're not what they appear to be." Way handed her a small data tablet concealed within a portfolio. "Their molecular structure shifts constantly, like they're maintaining a form rather than naturally existing in it." Reyes studied the readings, her xenolinguistics background giving her unique insight into biological patterns as forms of communication. "Their language does the same thing, adapts too perfectly to our idioms. No natural translation should be this seamless." The party continued around them, Earth's elite celebrating what they believed was humanity's golden ticket to the stars. Across the ballroom, President Chen raised a toast to interstellar cooperation, while corporate executives already discussed licensing alien technology. "We need hard evidence," Wei said quietly. "Suspicions won't convince anyone to reject miracle, technology and immortality treatments." Reyes nodded toward a restricted doorway where two Valtteri guards stood watch. "That corridor leads to their private communication chamber. I've tracked Zartek's movement patterns all week. At precisely 3:47 a.m., he conducts what they call a homeworld alignment, supposedly a religious ceremony requiring privacy." Wei checked his watch. 20 minutes. How do you propose we get past the guards?" "I don't," Reyes smiled for the first. "In time that evening, pulling a small device from her clutch. Remember the translator implant they so generously provided me for my research? I modified it to emit their identification signature." As the orchestra played Earth classics interpreted through alien instruments, Reyes and Wei separated, executing their improvised plan. "We created a diversion by accidentally spilling wine on a Japanese diplomat, while Reyes slipped down a service corridor that paralleled the restricted area. The maintenance passage was narrow and dimly lit. Reyes moved silently, counting doors, until reaching the junction that should connect to the Valtteri communication chamber. She pressed the modified translator against the wall, hearing a satisfying click as hidden mechanisms recognized what they believed was authorized access. The panel slid open, revealing a darkened room pulsing with holographic displays. At its center floated a three-dimensional star map spanning what must have been hundreds of light years. Reyes quickly connected her data device, capturing everything while scanning for information that might confirm her suspicions. That's when she saw it, planet after planet marked in a sequence of changing colors. The progression always ended with a barren, lifeless red sphere. Earth's familiar continents glowed gold, with a countdown timer displaying what appeared to be only 97 days remaining. Behind her, the door to the main corridor hissed. Open. Reyes ducked behind a crystalline console as Ambassador Zartek entered. The elegant humanoid figure stood before the star map, his form seeming to shimmer slightly when he believed no one was watching. A massive hologram materialized, being similar to the Valtteri, but with a more complex exoskeleton and eyes that conveyed ancient malice. "The humans suspect nothing," Zartek reported, his voice dropping its carefully cultivated warmth. "Their resistance will be even less significant than the Arcturians." Dr. Aisha Okafor hunched over her microscope in the makeshift laboratory, her eyes burning from lack of sleep. The converted subway maintenance tunnel beneath New York City offered privacy from Valtteri monitoring systems, if not comfort. Water samples from 20 major cities surrounded her workstation, each containing the same microscopic machines. "They're not just in the water," she said, as Dr. Reyes entered the lab. "They're adapting to our cellular structure at an alarming rate." Reyes placed a fresh coffee beside her colleague. "Like the translator algorithms adapt to our language. Perfect mimicry hiding their true purpose." Okafor nodded, pulling up magnified images on the laboratory's jury-rigged display screens. "These machines bond with human neurons, supposedly to enhance cognitive function. The Valtteri medical protocols claim they're strengthening our minds against cosmic radiation. But they're actually preparing us for control," Reyes concluded. "That's what I thought too, until I saw this." Okafor displayed brain scans from patients. Near Valtteri outposts, the expected pattern would show diminished activity in decision-making regions. Instead, we're seeing increased neural pathways, new connections forming where none existed before. Reyes leaned closer. "The pathogen is enhancing us." "Not by design," Okafor's tired face showed a hint of triumph. "Human neurology is processing the pathogen differently than any species the collective has encountered before. My brother was among the first affected. He's not getting sicker. He's developing computational abilities that should be impossible." A secure communication device buzzed. Colonel Way's face appeared on screen, his features tense. "Meeting at the bunker in 2 hours. We've decoded the data crystals." The Swiss bunker, originally constructed during the Cold War, now served as humanity's last secure command center. World leaders and top military brass sat in stunned silence as Way's team displayed footage from worlds conquered by the collective, civilizations that welcomed the Valtteri only to be methodically transformed into compliant labor forces. "The pattern is consistent across 17 documented conquests," Way explained, highlighting worlds that resembled Earth in various stages of development. "They accelerate technological progress while introducing the pathogen, then harvest the world's resources using the native population as workers." President Chen stood slowly, her voice steady despite the weight of revelation. "We've distributed their technology globally. Their outposts are on every continent. How do we fight this?" The bunker's heavy doors opened unexpectedly. Security and personnel raised weapons as Ambassador Zartek entered, flanked by 2 Valtteri guards. "You don't," the ambassador stated calmly, studying the evidence displayed around the room. "Impressive. No species has discovered our methods this quickly." Guards surrounded the aliens, weapons ready, but Zartek showed no concern. "It changes nothing," he continued. "The collective spans 10,000 worlds across 3 galactic arms. Your civilization, while admirably clever, will be remembered only as particularly intelligent animals." Dr. Reyes stepped forward, pushing past the security cordon to face the ambassador directly. "Then why are you here? If our resistance is futile, why not just wait for your pathogen to finish its work?" Something flickered across the ambassador's perfect features, an expression Reyes couldn't quite identify. "Was it concern because it isn't working as intended?" Zartek admitted. "Your species processes our neural modifiers differently. Some subjects show concerning developments, abilities that should not be possible at your evolutionary stage." President Chen's eyes narrowed. "What kind of abilities?" Before the ambassador could respond, Dr. Okafor burst into the room, excitement overriding protocol. "The samples from affected populations show consistent mutations. The pathogen isn't weakening us. It's triggering latent neural architecture. Humans are developing advanced cognitive functions similar to the highest collective species." For the first time since the Valtteri arrived on Earth, Ambassador Zartek's diplomatic mask slipped completely, revealing something humans had not yet seen from their visitors: fear. The abandoned subway tunnels beneath Boston had been transformed into a hive of activity. Maps of Valtteri outposts covered the walls, with string connecting apparent shipping routes between them. Colonel Wei had insisted on physical paper maps, nothing digital that could be hacked or traced. Operation Firewall depends on absolute secrecy, Wei reminded the assembled team of engineers and military specialists. The Valtteri must believe we're still the compliant, grateful species they expect us to be. Dr. Okafor entered from the medical wing, dark circles under her eyes testifying to another sleepless night. "The modified pathogen is ready for distribution," she announced, gesturing towards sealed containers of what appeared to be ordinary water purification tablets. These will enhance the unexpected neural effects while appearing to make us more docile by Valtteri testing standards. "What's the coverage?" "Radius?" Wei asked. "One tablet treats 100,000 gallons, Okafor replied. "Enough to cover every major reservoir on 6 continents if our distribution teams can access the treatment facilities." A young man with tousled black hair and an oversized sweatshirt looked up from his workstation. Jun Nakamura had been missing. His high school graduation when Dr. Reyes recruited him. Now the teenager was humanity's most valuable technological asset. "I've got something," Jun announced, his fingers flying across multiple keyboards. "The Valtteri quantum communications have a fundamental vulnerability when processed through Earth's internet architecture." Wei approached the young prodigy's station. "Explain." Their system evolved in a hierarchical environment, every node reporting up a chain in perfect order, Jun said. But our internet evolved chaotically, with redundancies and inefficiencies they can't comprehend. When their signals pass through our nodes, there's a millisecond delay they don't account for. He brought up visualizations showing alien data, streams intersecting with human networks. I can use that delay to insert packets into their communication stream. They'll never detect it because they don't understand why inefficiency would exist in a communications system. Dr. Reyes studied the code scrolling across Jun's screen. "Can you access their central database?" "I already have," Jun grinned. "They've catalogued thousands of worlds across 3 galaxies. Every conquest follows the same protocol, and humanity is the first to discover it before Stage 3 implementation." The team gathered around as Jun displayed star charts filled with collective territories. "Their rigid thinking is their weakness," Reyes observed. "They've conquered so many worlds, the same way that they can't adapt to a species that doesn't respond according to their models." The bunker's comm system crackled to life with an encrypted message from Geneva. President Chen's voice came through, tense but controlled. "The Brazilian and Indian governments are threatening to expose Operation Firewall. They believe cooperation with the collective will spare their populations." Wei's face hardened. "If any government reveals our countermeasures, we lose our only advantage." "I'll handle it," Reyes said, already gathering her equipment. "The Valtteri central database will have leverage we can use." "That's a suicide mission," Wei objected. "Their main compound has bioscanners that can detect human presence instantly." Reyes smiled grimly. "Not if the human doesn't register as fully human anymore." She rolled up her sleeve, revealing faint blue lines spreading beneath her skin. Evidence of advanced pathogen exposure. Dr. Okafor's brother isn't the only one developing new abilities. She pressed her palm against a nearby screen, and to everyone's shock, the computer responded without physical interface. Data flowed according to her thoughts. "The Valtteri can't conceive that their technology might work better for us than for them," Reyes said quietly. "Their hierarchical thinking doesn't allow for unexpected evolution. That's why we'll win. Because the one thing humans have always done better than any species in the galaxy is adapt." Deep beneath Mount Fuji, in chambers, originally built as nuclear shelters, humanity made its final preparations. The collective armada had been detected crossing the heliopause, thousands of ships moving in perfect geometric formations that seemed to bend space itself. Jun Nakamura sat motionless in the center of the testing chamber, neural interface filaments connecting his body to a salvaged Valtteri scout ship. Medical technicians monitored his vital signs, while engineers watched the vessel's response metrics with increasing excitement. Neural synchronization at 187% of Valtteri baseline, announced Dr. Okafor, studying the readings with quiet amazement. The pathogen has restructured his synaptic pathways to process information more efficiently than the ship's original pilots. General Wei observed from behind reinforced glass as the scout ship's weapon systems activated without any physical input from Jun. How many pilots can we interface in time? 500 are ready now, Dr. Okafor replied. Another 1,000 are in final neural integration. The Valtteri pathogen has spread through most major population centers, but only those with specific genetic markers show the enhanced capabilities we need. In the Orbital Command Center, President Chen and the unified world government received the final reports from Earth's defenses. The hastily constructed planetary shield generators, reverse-engineered from Valtteri technology, might withstand conventional attacks, but would fail against the collective's main weapons. "They're dropping out of hyperspace," announced the sensor officer, voice tight with tension. The main view screen displayed the arrival of Supreme Commander Voxari's flagship, a vessel larger than any structure humans had ever built, its crystalline surface reflecting the sun in dazzling patterns. Behind it emerged an armada that blotted out the stars. "Receiving transmission," the communications officer reported. Voxari's image appeared on screen, his exoskeleton more ornate than the Valtteri ambassadors, signifying his higher status in the rigid collective hierarchy. "People of Earth," the Supreme Commander began, his voice processed to sound almost musical. "Your resistance is mathematically impossible. Our strategists have calculated your extinction to the millisecond. Surrender will be rewarded with mercy." President Chen stood tall, her response already prepared. "We respectfully decline your offer." Voxari's expression showed nothing, but his voice cooled. "Then we have no further communication to exchange." The transmission ended abruptly as the first wave of collective destroyers moved into attack formation. "Launch the interface pilots," General Wei ordered. From concealed hangars around Earth and the lunar bases, 500 pilots launched in hybrid fighters, vessels combining human engineering with Valtteri technology, optimized for neural control. Their minds merged with their ships, human consciousness expanding into machine awareness. Lieutenant Sophia Chen, among the first to show enhanced neural capabilities, led the defense squadron. As her consciousness joined with her fighter, she perceived space differently, not as empty vacuum, but as fields of probability and movement. The collective ships broadcast targeting data on frequencies they believed secure, but Sophia could sense them as clearly as spoken words. "Attack pattern Epsilon," she communicated directly to her squadron through the neural network. "They're expecting standard defensive formations. Show them something new." The human fighters moved in chaotic patterns that defied conventional tactics, their trajectories seemingly random yet perfectly coordinated. Collective targeting systems struggled to predict their movements, accustomed to enemies who followed logical, predictable strategies. The first engagement shocked the collective commanders. Human neural-linked fighters penetrated defenses designed to repel far more numerous conventional forces. When Sophia's consciousness brushed against the command network of a collective destroyer, she discovered she could sense its operational patterns. With startling intuition, she pushed her awareness deeper into the alien vessel's systems and found herself inside, not physically, but her consciousness controlling the destroyer's weapon systems. For a moment, alien minds tried to resist, but their rigid neural patterns were no match for the fluid adaptability of her enhanced human consciousness. The destroyed turned its weapons against its own fleet. On his flagship bridge, Supreme Commander, Voxari watched in disbelief as the impossible unfolded before him. "What are these creatures?" he demanded of his tactical officers. "How can primitives do this?" When no satisfactory answer came, rage overtook the Supreme Commander's careful discipline. "Orbital bombardment, destroy their population centers, show them the cost of defiance." 6 months after Voxari's failed invasion, Earth had transformed. Cities rose from ruins with impossible speed, their new architecture blending human aesthetic with Valtteri engineering principles. The bombardment had claimed millions of lives, but humanity emerged with resolve, hardened like steel in fire. Behind the moon's far side, hidden shipyards stretched across hundreds of kilometers. General Wei stood at the observation deck, watching as construction drones swarmed over nearly completed warships, vessels designed specifically for human neural patterns. "The Dauntless will be ready for launch tomorrow," Commander Sophia Chen reported, joining him at the viewport. Neural interface implants gleamed at her temples, marking her as one of the elite pilots whose consciousness could merge with their vessels. "With the Intrepid and Defiant, that gives us 3 capital ships with full neural sync capability." Wei nodded, his expression solemn. "Our intelligence suggests the collective still hasn't adapted its tactical algorithms to account for human unpredictability. They're still running simulations based on previous conquest patterns." "That's their weakness," Chen replied. "They can't comprehend why we don't follow their models." In the war room beneath the rebuilt United Nations headquarters, Earth's unified command gathered before holographic star charts. The collective blockade encircled the solar system, their ships maintaining perfect formation, beautiful, mathematical, and predictable. "Defense ensures defeat," General Wei stated, addressing the assembled leaders. His finger traced the nearest collective-controlled systems. "They expect us to cower behind our defenses until they develop countermeasures to our neural interfaces. We must strike while they're still reeling from surprise." President Chen studied the proposed targets. 3 simultaneous offensives? Our fleet is barely assembled, which is why they won't anticipate this move, Wei countered. "The collective has never faced a species that would attack while at a numerical disadvantage." Dr. Reyes stepped forward, her skin now laced with faint luminescent patterns, side effects of her advanced pathogen exposure. "I've analyzed communications. From subjugated worlds, many species remain biologically intact under collective rule, their resistance crushed centuries or millennia ago. They're still there waiting for a catalyst." The Council deliberated through the night before reaching consensus. At dawn, Operation Wildfire received authorization. 3 battle groups departed Earth's orbital shipyards, each led by a neural-synced capital ship. Commander Chen took command of the Dauntless Strikeforce, targeting the fortified collective world of Kalora. As the fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Kaloran system, Chen merged her consciousness with the Dauntless. Her awareness expanded across the vessel, sensing every system, every crew member's position, every weapon's status. Through the enhanced neural network, she connected simultaneously with all ships in her battle group. Collective Defense Fleet. "Detected," her tactical officer reported. "Their numbers are significant. The collective vessels moved with mathematical precision, forming perfect defensive geometries. Their targeting systems locked onto the human fleet, anticipating standard attack vectors used by every conquered species in their long history." Chen smiled. "Standard tactics would be suicide. Let's show them something they've never seen." Through the neural network, she transmitted attack patterns that seemed chaotic, almost random, formations that defied conventional military logic yet contained an underlying adaptive strategy no algorithm could predict. The collective commanders, bound by hierarchical decision trees, struggled to respond as human ships ignored optimal attack vectors in favor of seemingly irrational approaches. While the main collective fleet attempted to adapt its formations, a small strike team of neural-enhanced soldiers boarded the Caloran Orbital Command Station. Inside, they discovered the truth Dr. Reyes had predicted: the insectoid Calorans, a once mighty civilization, controlled through biochemical nodes implanted in their hive cities. When the human teams disabled these control mechanisms, the effect was immediate and devastating. Across Calora's surface, billions of insectoid beings awoke from generations of enforced compliance. Their natural hive-mind consciousness amplified by rage accumulated through centuries of subjugation, overwhelmed the remaining collective control systems. As Commander Chen watched from orbit, Caloran defense platforms turned against their collective overseers. Through neural-enhanced communication systems, she received a message in halting human language: "We join, fight, against masters." The Grand Assembly Hall in Earth's largest orbital station had never been designed to host representatives from 17 different species. Environmental chambers accommodated beings who breathed methane, while gravitational adjusters allowed the massive silicon-based Droka warriors to move comfortably despite Earth-standard gravity. Dr. Elena Reyes stood at the central podium, her translator implant processing 17 languages simultaneously as she addressed the Terran Accord's Leadership Council. "The Collective Council is fracturing," she reported. "Our intelligence network has intercepted communications indicating Supreme Commander Voxari faces unprecedented criticism from his peers." The crystalline Lumari representative, a being composed of translucent tissues that transmitted thoughts as pulses of light, brightened as it spoke. For 10,000 cycles, the collective conquered without meaningful resistance. The human anomaly challenges their fundamental understanding of their own supremacy. Holograms displayed the current state of the rebellion, expanding steadily from the original 17 liberated systems. The victory at Calora had sparked a chain reaction as news spread through collective space about the species from Earth, who fought impossible odds and won. "The collective's response grows increasingly desperate," General Wei noted. "They've begun destroying entire worlds suspected of sympathy to our cause." Fresh intelligence appeared on screen, footage of the Etheri homeworld vanishing in a blinding flash as collective planet killers tore apart its gravitational cohesion. Billions of peaceful beings, known throughout the sector for their art and philosophy, eliminated in minutes. This atrocity was meant to terrorize potential allies, Wei continued. It has had the opposite effect. 7 previously neutral systems have requested immediate admission to the Terran Accord. On Earth itself, the transformation continued. Cities gleamed with technologies that merged human innovation with alien principles. More surprising were the children. The first generation born after Valtteri contact demonstrated cognitive abilities that astonished even the most optimistic scientists. In a Singapore playground designed for cross-species interaction, 6-year-old Maya Chen guided a hovering ball through obstacle courses with her mind alone, giggling as alien children tried to follow her mental patterns. Dr. Okafor observed the children's play from a distance, recording neural data. "The pathogen's effect on developing brains is exponential," she told visiting dignitaries. "This generation will interface with technology in ways we can barely comprehend." Meanwhile, Dr. Reyes led a mixed-species research team studying captured collective data cores. After days without sleep, sustained only by neural stimulants and determination, she uncovered the Empire's darkest secret. The ruling caste maintains control through engineered biological dependence, she explained to the Accord Council, displaying molecular structures on the chamber's main screen. They modify conquered species to require compounds that only the Galactic can synthesize, its pharmaceutical empire building on a galactic scale. The Caloran Hive Queen, her massive form nearly filling her environmental chamber, clicked her mandibles in rage. This explains why attempted rebellions always collapsed within cycles. Without collective compounds, modified populations suffer neural degradation. Can the process be reversed? Asked the Terran representative. We believe so. Dr. Reyes nodded. Earth's genetic diversity and our unique response to the pathogen have given us insights the collective never anticipated. We're developing a universal counteragent that should free any species from this biochemical slavery. On Axiom Prime, the collective's throne world, Supreme Commander Voxari knelt before the council chamber, a position he had never expected to occupy in 10,000 years of flawless service. The human contagion spreads beyond containment, he admitted, abandoning the precise diction that had always characterized his reports. 17 systems lost, 7 more teetering on rebellion, our biological control mechanisms failing on multiple worlds. The ancient counselors, beings who had guided the collective's expansion since before humans mastered fire, stirred with uncomfortable emotion. What do you propose, Supreme Commander? Councillor Vexmore's voice dripped with disdain. Voxari raised his head, eyes reflecting the desperation spreading through the once invincible empire. Release the ancient arsenal. Activate the planet killers. We must excise this infection, whatever the cost. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Those weapons have not been unleashed since the Purification Age, Vexmore objected. Many of our own worlds will perish in the gravitational disruption. Better we rule half an empire, Voxari replied, coldly, than lose everything to human chaos. The emergency session of the Terran Accord filled the command center with grim faces from 17 species. Holographic displays showed real-time footage of the Lumari homeworld collapsing into itself. Billions of sentient beings reduced to energy as gravitational singularities consumed their planet's core. 3 worlds destroyed in as many days, General Wei reported, his voice tight with controlled rage. The ancient weapons are unlike anything we've encountered. They don't just destroy planets, they erase them from existence. Dr. Reyes studied the sensor readings from the destroyed worlds. This technology doesn't match anything in the collective database we've accessed. It's far more ancient, operating on principles beyond their standard science. The tactical display, updated as more gravitational disruptors approached Earth's sector. The Terran fleet had managed to destroy 2 of the planet killers, but at catastrophic cost. Dozens of ships lost for each weapon neutralized. Jun Nakamura, no longer the awkward teenager, but a confident young man leading Earth's quantum intelligence. Division stepped forward. We can't stop these weapons conventionally, he stated, but I believe I've found another way. He activated a display showing the quantum signature of Axiom Prime, the collective's throne world. All these weapons transmit control signals through quantum entanglement. The source is here, deep beneath the collective citadel. You're proposing a strike at the heart of collective space, Wei asked. Their home system defenses are impenetrable. Not quite, Jun smiled, activating another display. I've developed quantum camouflage based on principles I discovered in the oldest sections of their database. For exactly 16 hours, a small fleet can travel undetected through their territory, the Council debated furiously. The plan was desperate, borders on suicidal. Yet as reports arrived of another allied world vanishing in gravitational fire, they reached grim consensus. From every surviving world in the Accord, volunteers came forward for what most considered a one-way mission. A strike force assembled. human commanders paired with specialists from 17 species, each bringing unique abilities to the mission. Dr. Reyes insisted on joining the scientific team. The collective database contains references to ancient control systems beneath the citadel. I'm the only one who can interpret the oldest dialect variants. Against astronomical odds, the Strikeforce penetrated the collective's home system, their ships ghosting past elaborate defense platforms that had never been breached in 50 millennia. On Axiom Prime's night side, dropships deployed elite teams to the surface. Dr. Reyes led her team through ancient catacombs beneath the collective citadel, following maps pieced together from fragments of contradictory data. The architecture changed as they descended, newer sections giving way to increasingly archaic structures. These passages predate the collective's recorded history, she whispered, studying inscriptions that pulsed with faint bioluminescence. This isn't their original technology. At the deepest level, they discovered a vast chamber sealed with barriers that responded to no known access protocols. As Reyes examined the ancient symbols, the barrier suddenly dissolved. Inside, contained within crystalline structures, they found imprisoned beings of startling beauty, humanoid, but with features of such symmetry and grace that they seemed almost sculpted. We sensed your approach, a melodic voice touched Reyes's mind directly. The first minds in 50,000 cycles capable of receiving our thoughts. Who are you? Reyes asked, both aloud and in her thoughts. We are the true Valteri, the imprisoned being replied, creators of the technology that united galaxies. Those you call the collective were once our assistants, biological constructs designed for specific functions. They seized control when we attempted to grant autonomy to all sentient species. The true Valteri leader approached the barrier separating them. Your neural patterns, they resemble our own. The pathogen the usurpers deployed against your world was derived from our essence, intended to make your kind compliant servants. Instead, it awakened dormant pathways toward our form of consciousness. In orbit, General Wei's forces engaged, in hopeless battle against overwhelming numbers, buying time for the ground team to complete their mission. The collective flagship, personally commanded by Supreme Commander Voxari, moved into position to deploy the planet killer against Earth itself. The true Valteri guided Reyes and Nakamura to an ancient control nexus hidden beneath the prison chamber. This controls all systems built upon our technology, including the weapons they have awakened. But interfacing requires a consciousness similar to ours, one that can process reality on multiple planes simultaneously. Nakamura stepped forward. I can do it. 1 year after the Battle of Axiom Prime, Earth's night sky glittered with unfamiliar constellations, the orbital lights of diplomatic vessels from hundreds of worlds once enslaved by the collective. The Grand Assembly Hall, now expanded to encompass an entire orbital station, hummed with activity as representatives from 217 species gathered for the founding ceremony of the Galactic Concord. Dr. Elena Reyes stood at the central podium, her neural enhancements, allowing her to perceive the thoughts and emotions radiating from the assembled delegates. The woman who had once been a reclusive xenolinguist now addressed the most diverse gathering of sentient beings in known history. We stand at the dawn of an age built not on dominance, but cooperation, she began, her words translated simultaneously into hundreds of languages. Not on uniformity, but celebration of our differences. The collective sought to impose order through subjugation. We choose to create harmony through freedom. The true Valteri, elegant crystalline beings who had spent 15 millennia imprisoned, by their own creations, occupied seats of honor in the chamber. Their eldest, Kelverin, rose to speak, his thoughts resonating directly in the minds of all present. We created technologies To connect worlds, not conquer them, he explained. Humanity has restored our original vision and expanded it beyond our imagination. The neural evolution triggered by our essence has given humans a unique place in this new galactic community, not as rulers, but as catalysts for change. In laboratories throughout the solar system, human and Valtteri scientists collaborated on projects that transformed theoretical physics into practical applications overnight. The first hybrid star drive, combining human neural interface technology with ancient Valtteri principles, achieved faster-than-light travel without the quantum entanglement limitations that had restricted the collective's expansion. General Wei, his face now bearing the scars of countless battles, addressed the first graduating class of the Concord Peacekeepers Academy. Cadets from dozens of species stood at attention as he spoke. Our mission is not to police the galaxy, he told them, but to ensure no power ever threatens freedom again. You will protect, not dominate. Serve, not control. Jun Nakamura had awakened from his coma 3 months after the battle, forever changed by his interface with the ancient Valtteri systems. His consciousness now existed partially in normal space and partially in the quantum realm, giving him insights no purely physical being could comprehend. From this unique perspective, he developed the resonance network, instantaneous communication across unlimited distances. Information wants to be free, he explained to astonished engineers from 17 worlds, even across the void between stars. The remnants of the collective retreated to isolated regions at the galactic rim, their hierarchical society collapsing without the biological control systems now neutralized by treatments developed by Dr. Okafor and her multi-species medical team. Earth itself had become unrecognizable, its cities soaring with architecture that would have seemed magical only years before. Its oceans cleansed by Lumari purification technology, its deserts transformed into lush habitats through Droka terraforming methods. In parks where children of all species played together, translator implants made language barriers meaningless. In the newly established Terran Astronomical Institute, 8-year-old Maya Chen, daughter of the legendary Commander Sophia Chen, became the youngest person ever to pilot an exploration vessel. Her generation, born during the conflict and showing unprecedented neural development, represented humanity's next evolutionary step, an unexpected gift from the Valtteri essence that failed to subjugate humans. On the anniversary of First Contact, Kelverin presented humanity with an artifact recovered from the deepest vaults of Axiom Prime, a crystalline sphere containing star charts unlike any seen before. The Pathfinder, he explained, a map to neighboring galaxies even the collective never reached. The true frontier awaits. As Earth prepared its first intergalactic expedition, Supreme Commander Voxari, now imprisoned on a rehabilitation world, watched the news broadcast with bewilderment. The once mighty leader of the collective had lost everything: his empire, his status, his certainty in the natural order. How? He asked the human guard who brought his daily meals. Your world was primitive, isolated, defenseless. The guard smiled, not unkindly. That's exactly why we won. You've conquered predictable worlds for 50,000 years. Humans are anything but predictable. In the final ceremony, representatives from all conquered worlds gathered as the first intergalactic exploration vessel prepared for launch. Its crew represented 20 species, with a human captain taking the command chair. As the engines powered, up Captain Maya Chen, now grown to adulthood and fulfilling the promise of her childhood, gave the order that launched humanity's greatest adventure. Let's see what's out there.